If you need to repair the hydraulics on your Ford tractor and your problem lies within the top lid, this is the video for you. I will show you how to replace this piston and cylinder as well as the pin, this draft control to completely rebuild the top lid on your tractor. Now when your hydraulics break, sometimes the problem lies within the top lid, sometimes it lies within the pump. You'll want to be sure to watch our troubleshooting video where I'll help you pinpoint on your tractor exactly where the problem lies. And if you have a pump problem, watch the pump video. And if you have a top lid video, then follow along, and at the end you'll have the confidence to make this repair on your own tractor. When I rebuild a top lid, the first thing that I do is take the piston and cylinder off. There are four bolts underneath here, which I have already taken off with the impact so that these ones will just pull out. The longer ones go towards the back and the shorter ones are in the front. Those pull out, and then this cylinder will just come right out. I think my top lid's a little unbalanced there. Let me get it back up on the table. Okay, the cylinder will come out. You can see that the piston is inside here. On the bottom, you can use a blow-off nozzle to shoot some air through here, and then the piston will come out. It's extremely dangerous. I am not going to do this on video because I'm going to go outside and shoot the piston outside so that it's not shooting towards somebody or something where something could get hurt. So use a blow-off nozzle to get your piston out of the tractor, and then I'll show you how to put a new piston in. This is a piston out of a Jubilee. You'll notice that it's an upgrade style from the piston that we took out of this AN since it still had the original piston in it. You can upgrade yours as well, and if you just upgrade to the Jubilee piston, it will still go in the cylinder that you have from your 8N, 9N, or 2N tractor. This is a leather backer that goes onto the piston, and I had it in some warm water here so that it would stretch out a little bit and slide over a little easier. And then the O-ring goes next. Those just snap down into place, and then I'll just run over that with my finger and set that into place. Once that's in, I'll insert it into the cylinder. Just want to make sure it's really smooth here. Really stretched quite a bit there in that hot water. Okay, it's smooth over there. I'm happy with that. I'm going to insert this into the cylinder like so. That'll slide down in there. Try to drive that in. There we go. I have my piston driven all the way in, as you can see. Now I'm ready to drop this onto my top lid. You can see here that I have a new gaskets set in place here, and I cleaned up this whole surface so it's really clean. Let me step around this way. I've got 2 spacers here like so, and I'll drop this down. Remember, the longer bolts were right here and the shorter bolts in front, and we'll tighten that on. The pivot pin on my top lid was worn, and if yours is worn, you'll want to replace it as well. You can do so by using a torch to heat up this linkage and then use a punch once it's orange to drive the old pin out. Once you have the old pin out, the new pin will drive in from the other direction. You'll need to heat it up again and work while it's hot and work carefully in order to replace that pivot pin. Here is my old pivot pin, and you can see how worn it is there. Sometimes these are broken off completely. This will cause the 3-point arms to not have as much travel, not lift high enough or low enough. So if that's the case on your tractor, go ahead and replace this pin. You do have to have a torch in order to get on and off, but it makes a big difference in the performance of your hydraulics. When you are ready to repair your top lid, we offer the parts that you'll need. Let me run through them for you real quick here. You can purchase the gaskets for the PTO and the side cover separately, or they also come in the kit, but you can purchase them individually. We also have a dipstick. This is the pin for the top of the 3-point. This felt and backer plate are for the draft control. They go by that spring on the back. This cork goes by the lever, and this is the drain plug gasket for the bottom of the tractor. Here we have the updated Jubilee style piston, which also has the O-ring and the leather backer. In addition to that, we also offer the cylinder that the piston goes into. So if your cylinder is damaged, you can replace it. Here we have a pin, which is a little part that makes a big difference, and you saw how important that is and a common problem on these tractors. We also offer this valve, which remember is only for a 9N or 2N tractor. Over here we have a gasket set, which does have gaskets for the top lid, but there's also some bonus gaskets This one goes on the bottom of the pump. These are for the chamber. The side covers are included here. So this is a complete gasket set, which you could purchase as an entire kit. When you're ready to make that purchase, you can go to farmtractorrepair.com. Your purchase on that site helps to fund future tractor repair tutorials. I have gasket material all around the lid here, and I also have all the remains of the old gasket cleaned off of my tractor. So I'll insert the new gasket, and then we'll be ready to drop this down into the tractor. In the troubleshooting video, we did identify that there was problems with the draft control on this tractor. I'm going to show you how to repair that. This is a threaded rod in here, and it does need to be heated up in order to be removed. You won't be able to loosen that without heat. I heated mine up yesterday so I'd be able to touch it today, and now it just turns and will come all the way out. When you have this heated up orange, work carefully. It's just a threaded rod, and if you break it, you'll be looking for a new top lid. So just be careful while you're working, and you'll be able to pull this completely out. This cap will come off of the end like so. Let me set this aside, and then this will come out. Next, we're up to this plate here that you can see. These bolts are 5/8 inch, and you can take all three of those off, and then we'll replace it with a brand new one. I'll show you how to do that. My last bolt out here, and we'll get that broken plate off. You can see where it's completely broken down there at the bottom. We'll reuse this backer plate. Notice that it does have a dowel behind there, and that lines up accordingly. You'll see that when you make that repair. Next, we have a new felt, which I'm going to slide on. And here's our new plate. This kind of all, wish it slides in there together. Of course, that new felt's going to be a little thicker because it's new than the old one, but get that all lined up and tighten it up with the 3 bolts. I have my draft control all back together. You can use a rod through the end to turn that back and forth as you're tightening it. Before you put it all back together, inspect your threaded rod and make sure that when you were torching you didn't do any damage to your threaded rod. Then you can put your pin back through and finish up that assembly. If you need new pins, those are available, and you can put your 3-point arms back on the tractor. Slide this one through, tap it here with the perfect. We'll put the pin through the end there and do that on both sides. When you drop the top lid down into the tractor, you have to make sure on an 8 end that control or pivot rod falls into the valve right here. So on my tractor, I use the cherry picker to lower this down very slowly, and then I reached my hand into there, made sure that the rod was into the hole and had the gasket lined up, and then I tightened down my top lid. Now, if you're working on a 9 end and 2 end, that's going to look a little bit different. It's going to have that T with the ball sockets, and you'll have to reattach those. Make sure that you do that step so that your lever and your pivot, everything connects, and it's going to work properly for you. Use some gasket sealer on both sides of your gasket. Make sure that it's all cleaned up from your old gasket, and then you can put your side inspection doors back on. This side is where the dipstick goes. My old dipstick was broken off, so I'm going to put a brand new dipstick in there. They're inexpensive. If you need a new dipstick, go ahead and replace that as well. The lift lever on this tractor is loose. You can see that it doesn't hold up. There's not enough friction there. If that's the case on your tractor, you can replace this disc that is right here. You do so by taking this nut off of the end of the rod here. I'm using a deep well socket because when I started, the threads kind of stuck out. So you'll need to do the same. Feels like I'm almost towards the end here. Let me check on it. Yeah, okay, that's gonna come off. You'll see that I have 2 washers behind it as well. Oops, actually 3 washers there. Next, I'm gonna take both of these bolts off. This will release the handle from the disc. Take both of those loose. And then the handle will just rest in there. We're gonna use the same handle. We're only gonna replace the disc. The disc that is on the tractor right now is aluminum, and they just don't hold up very well. We're gonna put a new one on that's cast iron. It will hold up a lot better for us. So let me get this last bolt out. There's the handle. I'm just gonna set that down, and this will pull off. Sometimes I have to pry that out with a screwdriver. This one's gonna pull right off for us. You can see that there's both the plate and the disc here. I'm gonna replace both pieces, and we do offer both of these pieces as a replacement. So I'm gonna put this on here. There is a key in the rod. Let me take that off. And then my new cork will slide in there. I'm gonna replace the key, the half moon, back in there. And then I've got to get that lined up just like so. Okay, and then I'll just replace the handle and the nut at the end in similar fashion. You can make an adjustment on your 3-point hitch if for some application you need your arms to go either higher or lower. You would loosen up these 4 bolts here at the plate, and then you can just tap it either forward or back to go higher or lower. You can see that there are 2 marks here from the factory, and if those are lined up, that would be, you know, what would be recommended. But if you need to adjust it, you can, and once you have that adjustment made, then you just tighten up those 4 bolts. See how the hydraulics work on our new system? They lift fast while the tractor's at an idle, which is really good. They lift all the way up. Let's turn the tractor off and put some pressure against the system, and they still hold. That's very good. We'll go ahead and let those arms down. I would consider that repair a success. Let's talk about the oil that you should put in your tractor. I would recommend a straight 90 weight all mineral oil like this jug here. You can see on it that it says that it's for Ford tractor transmissions. On the back, it gives more specifics about what years and models it would be specific for. If you can find 90 weight oil like this, then use it. If you can't find it, you could use Hydrotrans oil, and that would be okay as well. Your system will take 5 gallons. You drain it at the bottom, of course, and add new oil right here next to the starter button and the gear shifter. I hope that this video is helpful to you when you make the repairs on your own tractor, and that at the end, your hydraulics work as good as this tractor does.